Hello, and welcome to another battle report from the Brotherhood of Broken Banners. Today's report features myself, Adam, versus our regular guest, Ryan. Ryan, Jan, and I just got back last week from Nationals and met tons of awesome friends and fans, which was great to see. Huge shout out to all my opponents. They were all really great games, win or loss, and the tournament organizer, Evan, along with Brick, who helped coordinate the event from Simon's side. I'm already hoping I can qualify and attend again next year. Getting back on track, today we've got a match to show off of a commander that was requested by viewer Mr. Greg 972. Hopefully you'll see the timestamps in the description below if you want to skip right to the action. Otherwise, when building this list, I wanted to lean into the Season 5 change Skahaz got, which gave me an opportunity to do something silly. I started with an aggressive slant, Skahaz and Swordmasters, as he wants to be in long range of enemies and doesn't want them totally ignoring him. Next up, a unit that's core to a lot of lists I like to build, is an Outrider with Fortune Seeker attachment. Fortune Seeker puts a lot of pressure with these boys, letting you rail into even heavily armored units easily. The fun starts with the next two units, Brazen Beasts, one with Grey Worm attachment and one with Belwas. Grey Worm gives boldness and courage, which sounds nice with a lightly armored unit that can get crit blow, and Rally Cry, a great ability to have if you're charging in with Sentinel. Belwas gives Battle Scars, one of my favorite abilities, that gives all the stuff you want on an aggressive unit. Max attack dice, rerolls, and vicious depending on how wounded you are. You're probably asking, why Brazen Beasts? Well, Queen's Law lets you automatically count as rolling a 6 on a charge when you charge an effective unit, so I figured being able to get a guaranteed slam from max range with all 3 infantry units of mine was worth trying. Finally, the NCU suite consists of Miri, Barristan, and Khaleesi. Miri needs no introduction. You really need to try and construct a list if you don't automatically take her right now. Barristan is a great utility piece to make sure the turn goes the way you want, and Khaleesi gives a bit of token removal and rerolls to melee hits, which is nice when you've sentineled in or are trying to chain gun fire your long-range bows. Ryan's army is led by Stannis, the one true king, who's in his Kingsmen. This unit is incredibly hard to roll off the table with the 2 to last ability, basically giving them 2 extra lives, and can really do a number on any unit they get their hands on with the King's Blade. Next up is Crownland Scouts, the new hotness of the Baratheon faction, which shores up a lot of the weaknesses that they tend to have. Mark Target can really help boost the offensive power of the faction, but more importantly, their attack repo can really make an otherwise slow-moving army get into places the opponent doesn't expect. Next are the R'hllor Lightbringers with Bronn, the foil to my Outriders. Where my Outriders are more mobile, the Lightbringers are much tankier and can really spread some damage with their fire arrows. I'm sure the Bags zone is going to be fought over a lot this match. Finally, for combat units, Ryan brought some Stag Knights, a juggernaut that gets stronger the later the game goes on. For NCUs, Ryan brought a pocket pick of his, Jaqen, along with Axel and Silesian Shireen. Jaqen is great at copying the Axel influence, who is a great set it and forget it influence in his own right, and Silesian Shireen are great at being annoying and hopefully saving a unit in an opportune time. We roll off and I win the dice roll. I choose turn order, so Ryan makes me deploy the first unit. I put Grey Worm down right down the middle, and Ryan puts the Crownland Scouts down on the one side. I then choose to put Fortune Seeker Outriders all the way down on the far end, and Ryan puts the Stag Knights right down the middle. Lining up, I put Skahaz facing the Crownland Scouts, and then Ryan ends up putting the Lightbringers down, threatening my 2 melee units. Not deterred, I put the Brazen Beasts with Belwas down near Skahaz, and Ryan puts Stannis, OTK, all the way on the far end to get that one objective. Start out the round. I'm going to play Blood of the Dragon on the Skahaz Swordmasters. I'm then going to activate Miri and put her on the letters, drawing 2 and weakening the Lightbringers. Next up, Axel is going to activate, and he's going to claim the bags. That's going to remove the weakened token from the Lightbringers, while also influencing the Belwas Brazen Beasts to give them a panic token. Next up, I'm going to take Barristan and influence said Lightbringers. We're really having a fight over these guys. And he's going to panic zap those Lightbringers. However, they're going to pass. Next up, Jaqen's going to go onto horses. He's going to copy the Axel influence and panic my other Brazen Beasts. He's then going to use that claim to move the Stag Knights forward. Another Blood of the Dragon's going to go out onto my Brazen Beasts. It's always nice to see them come out early. And then Dany is going to activate, claiming the swords, removing the panic token off of those Brazen Beasts. Stannis is finally going to start to activate now that we can play the game. He's going to march his Mighty 10 all the way up towards the point he's near. Skahaz is going to activate and do the same. But he's going to stay a little bit farther back. Alright, now the Crownland Scouts get to go up. They're going to activate, make their free cab maneuver. And then they're going to march forward, also not the entire distance they can go. I'm going to take my Outriders and get them all the way up, claiming that point over there. Next up, Stag Knights are going to activate. They're going to pivot, maneuver forward, threatening my Outriders. And then I'm going to activate the Grey Worm Brazen Beasts and maneuver them up forward. Ryan's going to use his Tack Repo on the Stag Knights because I put the Barristan on the wrong unit. And then I'm going to use Skahaz's Mark Target to vulnerable those Stag Knights. Finally, Brazen Beasts are going to activate and maneuver forward, getting just outside of the shooting range of those Lightbringers. The way round 1 sets up, I'm ready to collapse on whatever unit peeks out to claim the center objective. Stannis OTK is a scary unit to try to chew through, so I'm going to try to ignore that unit as long as possible. My goal is to steal the center objective while using the Outriders' free maneuvers and shifts to keep them safe. Ryan is trying to keep my light armored units back with the Lightbringers so he can fight me mano a mano. To start round 2, Axel will take the letters. Ryan's going to draw 2 cards and weaken my Outriders. And with his influence effect, he's going to panic the Brazen Beasts. Next up, Dany's going to activate, claim the bags, and influence, after a little bit of back and forth, the Outriders. The Outriders are they going to use the Fortune Seeker's effect to replace the zone with a shot. I'm going to roll 1 wound and 4 hits. Ryan's going to fail 1, and then I remember the vulnerable. He's going to take another 1. However, he does pass the panic. Jaqen then goes out onto the swords, and he's going to influence Skahaz with the same influence as Axel. All the dice hit, and I save 4. I pass the panic, even through rerolls. Started my turn, and Ryan's going to use tactical reposition on the Crownland Scouts to shift his Lightbringers back. I'm going to take Miriam pass, so he gets to go again. Selyse and Shireen are going to take the horses and move Stannis up, just nabbing the point. I use Barristan, and Barristan's influence is going to go out onto the Stag Knights and try to zap down the Lightbringers to try to lower their dice profile. I do manage to plink 2 wounds off. Next up, Lightbringers shift up and shoot. The Lightbringers make 5 hits, and I save all but 1, and I pass the panic tack. This does rank my swords. I then use the Sentinel of the Brazen Beasts to move the Brazens up and get into threat range. Start a friendly turn, I'm going to mark target and make the Stag Knights vulnerable. And he's going to Stag's Wit that back onto me. Grey Worm's unit is auto in, so we declare the charge and snap to the front. This picks up the objective, which gives us Sundering, which helps cancel out the trees that we just ran over it. Rally Cry on Grey Worm will also heal up Skahaz's unit by 2. Motley Armaments is going to shut down abilities, and I'm going to swing in, making all 7 go through. He'll take 4 wounds, but pass the panic. After that bloody attack, the Crownland Scouts are going to activate and try and avenge their fallen comrades. They'll declare a charge and make it into the flank. Ryan rolls his dice and manages 6 hits. I'm going to roll my defensive dice and only save 1, even with the reroll. Ryan's panic token is going to be used and cause me to unfortunately fail this one, dropping the objective, and because of the rules, Ryan automatically picks it up. I realized I would have played Queen's Law at the beginning of this activation, and Ryan lets me throw it onto the Crownland Scouts. How very nice of him. Queen's Law allows you to count as rolling a 6 on any charges against the unit that it's being affected by, which is great because Skahaz is now about to activate and declare a charge on the Crownland Scouts into the rear. Oh no. I'm going to roll 8 dice with Vicious and Precision thanks to Incite and the Swordmaster's native hits. 7 hit and 6 go through. However, even with a rear hit, he still manages to pass the panic test. Fun fact, Final Strike only targets the defender. So guess what? I take 6 hits and fail 4 of them, losing a whole rank. Start of his turn, I'm going to Eyes of the Watch on the 2 remaining Baratheon units to give them -1 speed and attack dice if they do anything. Undeterred, Ryan attacks with the Stag Knights into the Brazen Beasts. He manages 8 hits off of only 5 dice, the Tom special. I managed to save none of them, and the Brazen Beasts die. Ryan is going to surge back with the Stag Knights, getting out of harm's way. I'm going to activate the Outriders and try to shift them forward a little bit, trying to get them a little bit closer into the action. Stannis is going to activate and move forward. And last but not least, I'll activate the Brazen Beasts. They're going to pivot and make a normal maneuver towards the rest of the fight, staying just outside of Lightbringer range. Round 2 was a killer, and unfortunately not for me. I managed to yoink the center objective with all the back and forth hits, so the score is 2-2, but I'm a unit down. However, I do have a few tricks up my sleeve, and I'm hoping they pan out. Ryan, sensing what's about to happen, activates the tactical reposition on the Crownland Scouts and moves the Lightbringers back too. I then activate Barristan and claim the swords. Barristan's going to influence the Crownland Scouts, and Skahaz is going to make an attack onto the Crownland Scouts. The Swordmasters make 6 hits, and Ryan manages to save none of them after rerolls. So they just die on the spot. Solution Shireen is popped, but I used Barristan to save him. Had to try, I guess. And off of that, I used Overrun. Look how happy Ryan was. I turn to face the Stag Knights and declare the charge into them, making it obviously. Slam into the side, and bad becomes worse when I give Fireblood to give attack Sundering and Insight to give them an extra dice along with Vicious. I make 1 wound and 7 hits, and Ryan pops Resilience. He loses 2 more, but passes the panic check. That allows Ryan to play Baratheon Conviction and heal 2 back. Ryan activates the Stagnites and declares the attack. He uses Sustained Assault to get highest attack dice. Ryan manages 6 hits, and I manage to save all but 2 of them. I do, however, fail the panic check and reroll into 2 wounds since I take 1 less from a failed check. I then activate Skahaz and declare an attack back. I land 7 hits, and exactly enough go through to kill the unit. Surge 4th puts a bit of distance between me and the archers, and also keeps me in long range of the brazen beasts so that I can sentinel in should they be attacked. Ryan activates Jackin, and I use Keeping the Peace to prevent Ryan from targeting the Lightbringers with any zone this round. Ryan chooses to still deny me the bags. His influence goes out onto Skahaz. I activate Miri, heal 1, have them scurry back a bit with the horses. Ryan activates Axel and claims the crowns, influencing Stannis' unit, just in case they make an attack this round. He crown zaps Skahaz' unit, and Ryan, going for broke, tries to reroll. I pass it, and I actually heal 1 because I passed the panic check. Dany then activates and claims the letters. She removes the panic token off of Belwas's unit with her influence. I draw 2, and I put a panic token out on the Lightbringers. Maybe I should have put a weakened. Ryan scoots back and activates and makes the attack onto Skahaz' unit. Unfortunately, I roll under average, and Skahaz' unit dies. Ryan then drops the token down over there. And because I am just inside of long range, I'm able to sentinel forward towards the point that the Swordmasters just dropped. I then activate the Brazen Beasts, march forward, and grab the point that they just dropped. Stannis then activates, turns, and moves his Mighty 2 towards the melee. Last but not least, I activate the Outriders and shift them over, trying to get them relevant into this fight. Round 3 was the bloodbath it promised to be. A surprise kill on my commander made the game closer than I was hoping it would be, but I'm still pulling ahead 6-4 at the end of this round. However, with 2 of my most expensive units down, I'll need to keep safe from the Lightbringers if I want to take this home. The start of round 4 has dueling start of turn effects. Ryan uses his Test of Faith and passes through a panic token reroll from me. I swift repo my Brazen Beasts backwards. Ryan takes Axel and he claims the bags, putting a panic token on my Brazen Beasts, and then uses Brawn to shoot them. 3 hit and 1 goes through, but a failed panic chest has me drop the objective. I activate Miri and claim the swords. I heal 1 on the Brazen Beasts, and I replace the effect to panic and weaken the Lightbringers. Solis and Shireen then activate and go on the horses, and I field control in response. The Lightbringers move up, and field control brings my Brazen Beasts forward with the shift to get to the point again. I activate Danny and I pass. So Ryan activates the Lightbringers again and makes a shot. Weaken gives me 4 hits, which is still pretty good for Ryan. Queen's Law takes away Vicious, which we're realizing shouldn't have been out there at this moment, but whoops. 4 wounds, and I pass the panic. Barristan will then activate, and he'll claim the crowns. He's going to influence the Brazen Beasts. And he's going to zap the archers, trying to just lay a little damage in. We realize at this point Ryan should have shifted back during his last shot, so we give him that so that he could try to make his long bomb 6-up charge with Stannis. However, he doesn't make it. So he runs forward, passes his panic. The Brazen Beasts then activate and declare a charge onto the Lightbringers. They make it in. Belwas is going to give them vicious and highest attack dice. Motley Armaments is going to give the Brazen Beasts crit blow and +1 attack dice. 5 hits, 2 wounds, and a failed panic test for 1 more. I leave the panic on for future use. Jaqen will go on to the letters and weaken the Outriders and draw cards. Finally, the Outriders activate, they shift forward, and they manage a shot off onto Stannis' unit. Two hits after weakened, and 1 wound, but he passes the panic, so it's effectively a wash because of Dauntless. Victory is close, but it relies on a few key things to happen. I need to keep my units from dying, which means those Kingsmen need to stay away from me. Ryan needs to pick off one of my units, and he might be able to juggle at least a tie, and maybe even a narrow victory. Ryan and I both put out tokens for scoring from the objectives. I put out a vulnerable on the Kingsmen, and Ryan puts out a panicked on the Brazen Beasts. Start of the round, Barristan will claim the swords. He'll influence the Brazen Beasts, and they'll make an attack. Motley Armaments gives +1 attack dice and crit blow. Belwas gives vicious and rerolls. Objective gives sundering. 6 hits, 4 grow through. He passes the panic, even through the rerolls. Axel will then go on bags, influence the crossbows, and have them make an attack. I think this might have been a mistake. I think Stannis should have just charged in and wiped out my Brazen Beasts, but I can see the value in doing this. 1 hits, however it does go through, and I still fail the panic check. However, I have an ace in the hole, sudden retreat, which lets me slide away from the Lightbringers and way out of reach of Stannis. I immediately activate the Brazen Beasts and declare another charge, snapping further away from the Kingsmen. Motley Armaments gives +1 attack dice and crit blow, but looking back, statistically, that actually was the wrong choice. Either way, it's enough to kill the unit, giving me my 9th victory point, and with no way to catch me, we call it there. Alright, post game. I think we both made a few misplays, but I was still very impressed with the Brazen Beasts and Belwas combo. Grey Worm, not so much. Sorry, buddy. Skahaz's cards all felt useful, even if sometimes I put them in a little bit earlier than they were supposed to be. I feel like Ryan locking his Kingsmen in the corner was an oversight. I think had the Stag Knights and Kingsmen switched places, the game could have gone very differently. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you've made it this far, we'd love it if you liked, commented, and subscribed. I want to hear your feedback and if there are other armies or commanders you want to see featured. Also, if you guys have any content suggestions, we're always looking for things to do. We noticed a lot of people tuned in for the Brotherhood review, and we're glad you guys liked the change of pace there. As always, see you next time.